One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.
You've given me an easy segue into the other topic that I wanted us to touch on, and that is dealing with negativity in the media. And you use this term, a change agent, and that's not always readily accepted by all constituent parties or entities involved or connected to an athletic department, which at times can probably paint you negatively in the media. Given your time at Southern Illinois, previous to that, of course, as a senior leader at Missouri and now at New Mexico State, give me some strategies you've effectively and positively used to combat negative media about whatever's going on within an athletic department.
Sure. Well, I tell you what, it's a great question, and I never understood why there would be animosity or what have you between members of the media, at least in my whole career, going back to Missouri when you had Vahe Gregorian and Mike DeArmond and Brian Burwell of the Post-Dispatch and the Kansas City Star, et cetera, et cetera. I always thought, hey, I'm going to be friendly with these folks. They're doing a job, I'm doing a job. And if I screw something up as the athletic director, or is there something negative, it's going to be in the newspaper. That doesn't mean that the media are bad people or what have you. I understand sometimes there's a negative slant, and I think when you get to those junctures, you just pick up the phone and say, hey, is there something I can better explain to you, or, what's the deal? I'll give you a quick example, like for us with our beat writer, Jason Groves, when it comes time to talk about the budget, he wants to do a story, we bring him in here. We sit him down with myself and the deputy AD and the CFO, and we put the budget on a table and say, hey, how can we help you understand this? It's public information anyway. So it seems to be it's much easier to bring people in, walk them through it, and because I couldn't write a wonderful article on the budget, and I don't know if just a beat writer could either, unless it takes everybody to sit down, explain it to them, explain situations, and if it's a bad situation and it's in the newspaper, don't take that as a chip on your shoulder, and if you have a relationship with people, I've always felt that if things go wrong, the members of the media will at least say, hey, I know that guy. I know that guy is a pretty honest guy, at least from what I know of him. I'm going to give him the benefit of the doubt. That might sound Pollyanna-ish or rose-colored glasses, but I always thought if you had a relationship with people and you brought them in and they felt they knew the inner workings of the department, they would be much more even-keeled in their reporting because they feel like they know what's going on.
Building relationships with true members of the media, I think, is a fascinating part of being an athletic director. I'm curious to what degree you get comfortable with a media member and provide them, I'm going to call it like additional behind-the-scenes information to help them better understand the context of a situation. And have you found in your past that you can do that and trust their confidence on some things that on background gives them better understanding of why you're making certain decisions, how long that takes to develop that relationship, if people have ever broken that trust before, if it can be repaired at all, if it can, that whole kind of this gray area of how you use the media.
Well, I think the longer you're in this business, the more it's a feeling out process, right? And it's just almost like dating. You don't go up to a member of the media that you don't know and start saying things that maybe you're unaware if it's going to end up in the paper or in the radio or what have you. So I think it's definitely a relationship business. It's definitely a feeling each other out and a building of trust, things like that. So and Lord knows I've been burned, said some things that I wanted to be off the record, but they weren't because we didn't get that squared away up front. But for the most part, I really think that if you know somebody, if they have an understanding of what you're going through, you can have those situations where you go off the record or you get some information out, and it's more of a partnership than it is just a straight working relationship. And when I say that, I don't mean that the media is a shill or anything, but I just think that they understand what your job is and you understand what their job is. And when you have somebody that you just work together with them to say, hey, let's we each get it, what we need to do. How can we both solve our issues and both get to what we need to get to?
So last question, and your answer cannot be Mike Alden, because I know you guys in the Alden tree, for good reason, think very highly of Mike. Give me a current or former athletic director who you think built the right relationships with the media and had a two-way street where both parties were at an advantage.
Wow. I would say with regard to that question, I always think the ADs who are comfortable in their own skin and who are, have a little bit of an external bent to them are great. Bruce Rasmussen at Creighton University, I think, was great. He is a veteran. He speaks to the media, men's basketball committee, and he's a quotable guy too. He gets that, vanilla quotes aren't always what the media are looking for. So I say, Bruce has been great. I know Gene DiFilippo, Boston College, has a great personality, and I think he's great with people. So I'd probably use maybe those two of what I've seen as a current example and a previous example.
And that's today's One Question, brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996. One Question is designed to give D1 Ticker subscribers valuable insights on how executive leaders in college athletics think about key issues on their respective campuses, in their departments, or within their leagues and conferences. One Question is brought to you by Turnkey Search, a top industry search firm since 1996.